I am the punishment of God. And if you had not committed great sins, God would not have sent a punishment like me upon you.
Shalom, brothers and sisters. Welcome to another episode of Crushing Christian Views. Tonight we're going to talk about fine linen. So part of our culture before we went into slavery, or better yet, before we were chased out of Jerusalem many moons ago, we were accustomed to wearing fine linen, particularly if we were, if our forefathers were middle class and above. Fine linen was the clothing of the day. Today, you couldn't buy a pair of fine linen pants unless you were going to spend $300-400 on the pants. I wear linen pants, but I wear the cheap stuff where you go to, what's that? It used to be at Eastland Mall. What was it called? It was a popular store out at Eastland Mall. You could go out there and get 2 pairs of linen pants for $30, $40, something like that. So I had the cheap stuff because I can't afford $300 linen pants. But when Christ returned, we will be draped in linen. Also, it was a custom of ours that when we passed away, we weren't buried in a coffin or a, what's the other name for a coffin? Whatever it is. A casket. We weren't buried in caskets or coffins. That was customary to the Egyptians, the ancient Egyptians. And America took on that custom. That's why in America and a lot of parts of the world, because a lot of people copied ancient Egypt, mostly people around the world, when someone dies, they're put in a coffin and buried in the ground. Where it was our custom as Israelites that when we died, we were just wrapped in linen cloth and put in the ground. And that goes along with from dust you come, to dust you return. If you're in a coffin, you can't return to the dust. You're in a box. But if you're wrapped in linen, you can return to the dust. So I hope I didn't go over y'all heads with that. So we're going to talk about fine linen, and we're going to start off in John 19. Derek's going to read that for us.
All right, this is John chapter 19, verse 40. Then took they the body of Jesus and wound it in linen clothes with the spices, as the manner of the Jews is to bury.
So it was the manner of when Jews passed away, the real Jews, which is what we are, and there's a bunch of history books on that are coming out now, written in the 19th, 18th, 17th, and even the 16th centuries, where both so-called white men and Jewish men, which are the same thing, they are admitting that we're the real Jews. And one day down the line, some other videos, I'll bring those books out, but not yet. So read verse 40 again. Oh, my bad. I'll read it because I'm still on it. Then took they the body of Jesus and wound it in linen clothes with the spices, as the manner of the Jews is to bury. So when we pass away, we should be wrapped in linen cloth and put in the ground, not in a casket. So let's go to the next one.
All right, this is Revelation chapter 19, verse 14. And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses.
The armies which were in heaven that followed him upon white horses are the armies of God following Christ, which is Jesus, when he returns to the earth. And a lot of you don't understand, you Christians, that there are armies in heaven. Well, that's what the scripture just told you. Armies. And what is an army used for? For killing people. Go ahead.
All right. I'll start back over.
Yep.
This is Revelation chapter 19, verse 14. And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean.
Clothed in fine linen, white and clean. So when Christ returned, Christ and all the angels will be wearing white linen, fine linen. Okay, let's see what else we got. Exodus chapter 36. Yep.
All right, this is Exodus chapter 36, verse 37. And he made a hanging for the tabernacle door of blue and purple and scarlet and fine twined linen of needlework.
You hear that? There it is again, fine linen. Let's go to the next one.
All right. So this is Daniel chapter 10, verse 5.
Oh, and this is one of our favorite scriptures. We read this in a couple of other videos.
All right, so this is Daniel chapter 10, verse 5. Then I lifted up my eyes and looked, and behold, a certain man clothed in linen.
Clothed in linen.
Whose loins were girded with fine gold of Uphaz.
So this is Christ that's being described by Daniel in Daniel 10, verse 5. We already know Christ is going to be clothed in linen when he returns to the earth. All right, we can go to Ezekiel chapter 9. So it's customary for our people, the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, to wear linen. But in this captivity, we can't afford real, pure linen. So we wear the cheap stuff. Go ahead.
All right, this is Ezekiel chapter 9, verse 11. And behold, the man clothed with linen, which had the inkhorn by his side, reported the matter, saying, I have done as thou hast commanded me.
The man clothed in linen. Who is this man? He's a Jew, an Israelite. That was customary for us to wear linen. Okay, we'll go to Samuel 1. I'm sorry, 1 Samuel, I guess is how most people say 1 Samuel. I just say Samuel 1. Chapter 22.
All right, this is 1 Samuel chapter 22, verse 18. And the king said to Doeg, turn thou and fall upon the priest. And Doeg the Edomite turned, and he fell upon the priest, and slew on that day 75 persons that did wear a linen ephod.
So the Edomite, the so-called white man, he killed 85 priests, Israelite men, who were dressed in linen. Read that again.
All right. This is 1 Samuel chapter 22, verse 18. And the king said to Doeg, turn thou and fall upon the priest. And Doeg the Edomite turned, and he fell upon the priest, and slew on that day 75 persons that did wear a linen ephod.
So 75 persons. So a score is 20 people. So he killed 85 priests, Israelite men dressed in linen. All right. I guess next will be Esther, which I believe Esther is in the Apocrypha, but it should pop right up. Esther chapter 8. So, brothers and sisters, this lesson tonight is to get us out of American customs and get back to our original customs. And again, nobody can afford fine linen unless you're Jay-Z or Oprah. So you can go and buy linen. It's cheaply made, but it's linen. It's just not pure linen. All right.
All right. This is Esther chapter 8, verse 15. And Mordecai went out from the presence of the king in royal apparel of blue and white, and with a great crown of gold, and with a garment of fine linen and purple. And
I'm sorry, go ahead.
And the city of Shushan rejoiced and was glad.
Yeah, they were glad. But yeah, so again, another one of our forefathers dressed in fine linen. So we'll go to Leviticus. Looks like 16. So we're going to go to Leviticus chapter 16 and fill your ears some more with fine linen.
All right. This is Leviticus chapter 16, verse 32. And the priest whom he shall anoint and whom he shall consecrate to minister in the priest's office in his father's stead shall make the atonement and shall put on the linen clothes, even the holy garments.
The holy garments, which are the linen clothes, which is customary to our people, which we don't know that because when we were brought here in slavery, they took our customs, they took our God, they took our language, they took our diet, they took everything from us. And when we're trying to explain that to black people in America, they reject it. Well, 2/3 of you reject it. Pretty soon, 1/3 of us are going to accept this. And 1/3 of, if we got 50 million black people in America, then you can do the math on what 1/3 of that would be. All right, so Deuteronomy chapter 22. We're going to give you more on the fine linen. And I hope there's a lot of brothers out there that are going to watch this, and maybe within the next year, you'll start seeing brothers wearing linen clothes.
All right.
Yep.
This is Deuteronomy chapter 22, verse 11.
Mm-hmm.
Thou shalt not wear a garment of diverse sorts, as of woolen and linen together.
Okay, and the reason I wanted Dee to read this is because I saw a Christian pastor about a year and a half ago or something. He called himself mocking Israelites when he said something about, I thought you're not supposed to mix fabrics. Well, guess what, Pastor? It says specifically not to mix linen and wool. And you can almost not find nowhere anybody wearing clothes with mixed linen and wool. Nobody's doing that, Pastor. All right, let's go to the next one. Matthew 20 something. Yep. So what's that? 27?
Yep.
Yeah, Matthew 27. More on linen. And to be honest with you folks, all through the Bible, our people wore linen, especially if they were upper class Israelites. Okay.
All right, this is Matthew chapter 27, verse 59.
Mm-hmm.
And when Joseph had taken the body, he wrapped it in a clean linen cloth.
Talking about Jesus, when Joseph took the body of Christ down, he wrapped it in a clean linen cloth and put him in the, Jesus was buried in a tomb, I think. He was set in a tomb. He wasn't set in the ground like most people. He was set in a tomb. So, but the point we're making is, he was wrapped in linen before he was set in the tomb. All right, I think this is the last one. Genesis, right, okay. So again, linen is customary for us to wear. Now, of course, when we get to the kingdom, we'll wear silk and other fabrics as well, but linen is the number one fabric. All right, go ahead.
All right, this is Genesis chapter 41, verse 42.
Mm-hmm.
And Pharaoh took off his ring from his hand and put it upon Joseph's hand and arrayed him in vestures of fine linen and put a gold chain about his neck.
Now, brothers love wearing gold chains. We know that, right? That's where we got that from. Our forefathers wore gold chains, but back to Joseph. Joseph is an Israelite. Pharaoh's not an Israelite. Pharaoh's an Egyptian. But Pharaoh knew better. He put fine linen on Joseph, who was an Israelite, because it was customary for us to wear linen. So this was a short lesson tonight. We just want to get that out to you because a lot of our people don't know what our original customs are. We just go by what America tells us. Y'all want to comment on any of this stuff?
Yeah, so is it safe to say that linen was only meant for Israelites?
No, anybody could wear linen, but it was customary for us to wear linen.
Okay.
Yeah, it was customary for us. And not just linen, but as the Bible described, fine linen.
Fine.
Yeah, so
fine linen.
So fine linen, that would be like the Gucci and the Versace.
That's right.
The Palm Angels of that time.
Exactly.
Okay.
Fine linen was a big deal. And it was a big deal to wrap Christ in a linen cloth and after he had died. You know, I'm at that point now. I told my sister, I said, I don't want to be in a casket or a, what's the other name? You got casket, I just said it a little while ago. Coffin. I can't even remember that stuff.
It's the same thing.
Yeah. Wrap me in linen cloth and put me in the ground. Okay? So, anything else? Yeah, that's a pretty chilled out lesson tonight. So, brothers and sisters too, within the next year or so, get in the practice of buying linen and wearing it, and putting America on notice that we're going back to our customs and we're going to abandon Babylon the Great's customs. So, with that having been said, I want to say shalom. I want to say like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Shalom.
I am the punishment of God. And if you had not committed great sins, God would not have sent a punishment like me upon you.